Audio check 1, 2, 3, checking the audio. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are here on lap 2 for the first race of the night here for the GT3 Sprint League at Zandvoort. Sorry we couldn't get on earlier, my computer was going unbelievably slow. It took me about 10 minutes to make a thumbnail. Oh, it's Kangi and Kevsim have come together here, coming through the S's, coming through the middle sector. Those two have well, we see Kevsim's got into the wall as Kangi's very sportsmanlike waiting for him there, but I assume Kangi taking responsibility for that incident. So those two coming together just as we were starting on the stream. What a start to the night we're having. As I've got G-Sanks here just ahead of Robe in second, just ahead of Robe in third. So Titus has broken away a little bit at the front. He's got a 1.4 second gap at the moment, but Robe looking to really try and pile the pressure on G-Sanks here. G-Sanks the only driver other than Titus and House to have taken a race victory so far this season, and he's currently running in P2 ahead of Robe and Max Power. Max Power has had chances this season to overthrow Titus, but ultimately, he hasn't been able to hold it together. First race of the season at Kyle Army, he actually led the race for most of the race. Managed to pretty much withstand Titus's pressure for the entirety of it. And then it was right near the end of the race. There was a collision between the two of them. And ultimately, Titus came through and won that first race of the season. And that was a sign of things to come, because since then, Titus has taken, out of the 10 races so far this season, he's taken 8 wins. So it's been an unbelievable run of form for Titus. He's also got a perfect record on a Sunday night here at Motive this season. So all told, he's got 5 out of 5 wins on a Sunday. He's got 8 out of 10 wins on a Wednesday. So in total, he's won 13 out of his 15 races so far in Season 4 here on the PlayStation 5 on ACC. It's been an unbelievable run of form here for Titus in the house. But we're currently watching this battle for second place, which is going on between G-Sanks, Robe and Max Power. Also keeping half an eye on Fierce Mars and Guido Chris, who look pretty close in the background as well. But we're going to stick with these guys at the moment as they're coming to the middle part of the lap. When Robe looking to try and make hay here on the back of G-Sanks. G-Sanks having to defend the inside as they're coming through into the chicane. And Robe just having little looks everywhere, just trying to force G-Sanks into a mistake. G-Sanks came a bit deep there through that section. Robe, they're not getting a great run either. And Max Power's now going to look to the outside here of Robe. He's going to try and hang it here all the way around him, but gets a little bit wide there off of the racing line. Didn't manage to get to the grip that he would have wanted there. Robe, for the time being, is going to hold on to that one in third place, but now Robe's got more pressure from behind in the shape of Max Power than he's able to put on the car in front, who's G-Sanks. And currently Robe looking more in his mirrors than he is ahead of him. But in the meantime, Titus is opening up a bit of a gap here at the front. He's 3.5 seconds clear of G-Sanks as we come towards the end of lap 3. As we look to the rest of them right now, you can see they're all filing through your shot. There's PS Fitz, who's on the back of Capriga. PS Fitz driving as a late stand in here tonight on a Wednesday. He races regularly with us on a Sunday, races on a Wednesday as and when he can. But currently doing a decent job here. Back in the BMW tonight. Usually when he races on a Wednesday, he jumps into Bentley. So he's obviously driving his car of choice for a Sunday. I don't know whether he's trying to get a bit more testing, a bit more sort of time behind the wheel in his Sunday car. But currently you've got Kevsim here looking to the outside of Yellow Army, nonetheless coming into, no, not Yellow Army, sorry, Kevsim. Kevsim's looking to the outside of Kangi into turn 1. Kangi's actually got ahead of him, I think, so Kangi there has made the move. Kevsim's going to try and come back at him. These two have been battling, obviously, since we saw them come together on lap 2. And for the time being, Kangi stays ahead of Kevsim in that little battle. So Kevsim holding on to 12th place. We've got Tony Zero in the comments saying, hi Andy, good luck there to everyone. I have no power, so I couldn't attend. Oh no, shame you couldn't be here, mate. Because obviously you're a regular for a Wednesday night. He says I'm going to stay for one race because power off for the whole day. That's a bummer. Need phone to last. Laser Camel says, evening guys, couldn't join tonight as I have migraine but watching instead. Welcome along, Laser Camel. Good to see, nice support, good. Racing is close to it. It's good racing here between between these guys running in second, third and fourth places. And actually, watching this battle between G-Sanks, Robe and Max Power, you can see Fierce Mars, whilst they're battling in front of him, is actually closing in on them. So Fierce Mars getting closer and closer to this fight for the podium places. He'll be hoping that these guys continue to distract each other a little bit more here. Guido Chris is not too far away either. Shark Zulu not a million miles away in 7th place as well. So could potentially be a lot of drivers in the battle for second place, which is currently still being led by G-Sanks as Robe is having to defend here because Max Power's got a great run coming out of the final corner. We've got to see the BMW looking to the outside of the McLaren here coming into turn 1, and he's going to hold on here for the time being. But Max Power's definitely just letting Robe know he's there. and keeping him on his toes at this point. But currently G-Sank still just ahead of these guys as they're coming up through into the middle part of the lap as we speak. Fierce Mars and Gidacris still not too far away from them at this point. Lexi, Mate and Yellow Army still battling over P10 at this stage. You can see these guys just about 10 or so seconds behind that battle for the podium places. Tinus in-house in the meantime, the race leader, has got a 5.5 second lead here on lap 5 of the race, so on average he's pulling away by over a second a lap at this point. He is currently dominating here at Zandvoort, as he has done so often throughout the course of this season. Let's not forget, Tinus in-house has been absolutely superb. He's been pretty much on another level in this Wednesday GT3 Sprint League and also the GT3 Championship on a Sunday as well. And there's been a couple of times where we've seen drivers like Ludo take the fight to him, but yeah, for the most part he's been definitely on a different plane. I'm looking forward to seeing the return of Jazzman, because we know that Jazzman and Tinus are very, very close in terms of their actual overall pace. So it'd be great to see Jazzman back in the fold. He's obviously been letting us know in the comments on Sunday night that he will be back for the final 2 rounds of the season actually. Obviously he's been visiting friends and family in his homeland in South Africa, so he hasn't been at his sim rig, which he's got, I believe, in Qatar, I think it is. So yeah, obviously it'd be great to see him back, because him and Tinus, they have such a good rivalry, and very clean, very fair, and yeah, just I think they're good friends as well, and they generally tend to I think spur each other on a little bit. But G-Sanks here has got Robbie looking to his outside as they come into turn 3, and Robbie looking up the inside but can't get himself in that picture at the moment. He's still got to tuck in for the time being in the background. Max Power a little bit wide, but still keeping on them at this point. Fierce Mars dropped off of this 3 battle for second place just a little bit over the last couple of laps. He's now got Guido Chris pulling up onto him a little bit more than he was before. Shark Zulu there in the background in 7th place, not too far off of this battle at this stage. But in the meantime, Tinus has got a 7-second lead over this fight for 2nd place, which is still raging on here between G-Sanks, Robe and Max Power. As Fierce Mars has lost it. Fierce Mars pinned it into the grass and into the wall there, so Fierce Mars is going to have surely lost out to Guido Christ and Shark Zulu as well. So Fierce Mars there losing 2 places in that little debacle. He's also got a little bit of damage there on the front of that Audi, so he's clearly just pushed a little bit too hard there and ultimately has paid the price for it. But you can see that G-Sanks is still running in 2nd place right now ahead of Roby and Max Power. There's Guido Christ ahead of Shark Zulu. Fierce Mars now looking to try and recover the pieces and recover the lost time after that little mistake that we saw just a few moments ago. Lexi Mate still running ahead of Yellow Army in that battle for the final top 10 spot. There's Kangi a few seconds clear of Kev Sim at this point. Tinus in the house though is still leading the race by quite some way, as Robe looking to the outside of G-Sanks into turn 1. Can he get this done? G-Sanks covers the inside line off and does a really good job there of fending Robe off, but Robe goes a little bit wide there going through turn 2. That might give Max Power a little bit of an opportunity here, but has to tuck in because Robe's got that line covered off, and it's still as you were between these 3. No changes in terms of their order. They've been pretty much exactly as they are at this point for quite a few laps now, and G-Sanks still holding on to that position ahead of these 2. Guido Christ there running in 5th ahead of Shark Zulu. Shark Zulu still trying to put the pressure here on Guido Christ. In fact, Shark Zulu's actually had a really good last couple of laps because he's closed up onto the back of Guido Christ quite considerably. Fierce Mars is now falling off of them in 7th place. Seems to be definitely dropping off at the pace at this point, as he goes a little bit wide there onto the gravel as well, which is not going to help his cause at all. PS Vids there running in P8, not too far from him. And yeah, I don't really know what to say, to be honest. To me it's quite an exciting race, but anyway, G-Sanks, Robe and Max Power still fighting it out here as they come into the final part of the lap. Tinus in the house though has got a huge lead out the front. He's about 9 seconds clear of this battle here for 2nd place. Guido Chris still keeping Shark Zulu at bay, but there hasn't really been many changes in terms of the order. It's a very difficult track to overtake in Zandvoort. I know this for a fact. I've seen this many times. It always seems to be the way around this circuit. It's not easy to find a spot to make your move, so it really is just about being patient and waiting for the driver in front to make a mistake. G-Sanks here now defending to the inside here on Robe, who's looking to the outside into turn 1, but still no dice for Robe at this point. Looks like the McLaren just hasn't got the straight line speed over the Lexus. Obviously it's got the cornering grip, and it's got the traction out of corners to be able to have a go, but then down the actual straights, down the end of the straights, it's not really got an answer to the Lexus. Lexus just seems to have that grunt, it seems to have that lower sort of downforce kind of ring to it. But Robe's still ahead of Max Power at this point. Max Power getting closer to Robe here through this middle sector, but just can't find a way through. I would have thought that Max Power would have the pace down the straights. Obviously the BMW pretty nifty in the straights compared to the McLaren, but probably not on the level of the Lexus, I would imagine. So I suppose it's pretty much it's horses for courses, isn't it? I mean, you pick your steed, and then obviously it will help you out in certain parts of the track. It just depends really what kind of setup you go for as well. Oh, there's Robe, taps the back there of G-Sanks. G-Sanks is round, that's going to give Max Power P2. He says, thank you very much indeed, boys. I will take that position, very, very kind of you. As also Shark Azuli following them through as well. So what happened to Gidachrist and all that? Gidachrist seems to have got held up with those two, but Robe there tapping the back of G-Sanks, those two down to 7th and 8th places respectively. Gidachrist must have got held up coming through because he's now 2 seconds behind Shark Azuli, so he must have had a bit of a disrupted passage there as he was going through the scene of the accident. Piers Miles has got PS Vid here on the back of him as these two battle it out over 5th and 6th places. There's G-Sanks with Robe there just behind him, not too far behind. Caprighi now on the back of Robe. Has Robe got damage on his car? That could maybe affect his ability to be able to defend here from Caprighi. But Max Power now promoted up into 2nd place with that collision that went on right in front of him. He is 15 seconds behind Tyson House, though, who is absolutely cleared off into the distance and is not being seen. If anybody's seen Tyson House tonight at Zandvoort, please do send us a picture and let us know how he's getting on, because I don't think anybody else has been able to catch a glimpse of him here this evening. But Max Power still ahead of Shark Azuli by just under a second at this point. Gidachrist there running in 4th place, couple of seconds behind them too. You've got PS Fids there, who's still got Fierce Mars pressuring the back of him at this point. In fact, has PS Fids put ahead of Fierce Mars? Because I happen to think that they were the other way around the last time I saw them, so I think that PS Fids has actually made the move somewhere out there on Fierce Mars. So he's now into P5. Fierce Mars has got G-Sanks now attacking on him in his battle for 6th and 7th places. You've got Robe there in 8th ahead of Caprighi, and battles everywhere else a little bit sparse at this stage in the race. But Shark Azuli still keeping Max Power on his toes here as they're coming into the chicane. See these two separated by half a second at this point. Shark Azuli seems to be gaining in confidence over the course of this race. I think maybe he didn't get the chance to do too much practice, because I'll tell you why, because over the course of this event so far, he seems to be picking up the pace more and more. Every single lap he seems to be getting closer to the pace of Max Power. So I reckon that maybe he didn't get a chance to put in the practice and he's just sort of learning on the job, so to speak. But we're coming over the line here to complete lap 9 nonetheless. Shark Azuli getting closer and closer to the back of Max Power into turn 1, but no dice at the moment. There's Gidachrist running in 4th. PS Fids there pulling away from Fierce Mars with G-Sanks on the back of him as well. Roby there in 8th ahead of Caprighi, followed by Kangi, who's running in P10. Leximate there just ahead of Yellow Army at the moment as those guys come into turn 1. Kevsim there running in 13th place, unfortunately for him, not having the night hit in his first race of the night, but there's a lot of racing still to go here. Only halfway through this first race of the night, and obviously we've got the second race coming up afterwards, so still plenty to get our teeth into and get excited about here tonight at Motive. But currently Tynus is leading by absolutely miles here in this race, and Max Power is still weathering this storm here from Shark Azuli at this stage, looking to Shark Azuli looking to the inside here as he's trying to throw a little feint to the inside, trying to put Max Power off a little bit. Max Power not taking the bait, but Shark Azuli just letting Max Power know that he could go for the move if he wanted to. He could do it, you know, it's potentially on the cards. If he, if Max Power makes a mistake or messes up, then Shark Azuli is going to be there waiting to capitalise on any little things that he leaves open there, Max Power. Got comments coming in left, right and centre tonight. Great to see so many people watching. Got Day in the comments going, oh no, in relation to the collision there with Robe and obviously G-Sanks as well. Very unlike Robe to see him making such a mistake, but it was clearly his doing. He went straight into the back of G-Sanks, but as I say, very unlike Robe to see him doing something like that. Obviously, we all have our off days, we all have our moments of rush of blood to the head. Good evening all, says Raki. Welcome Raki Tony Zero says, oof, and too bad I can't join my homeland race, says Raki. Yeah, shame you couldn't be with us tonight, mate. It's always nice to see you out on track, and but you know, you always support us in the comments when you're not racing, so either way, we've always got you in some sort of capacity here at Motive, in the community. Tony Zero says, Gran Turismo the movie is coming, it looks good, any thoughts? Really? Wow, okay. I'm guessing that it's a film based on a game. I mean, typically it's always been the other way around in my experience, but okay, sounds interesting. I'll be interested actually to actually see how that's being sort of put together. Auto Butcher, you could hitch a caravan up behind Tynus and they still would win. Yeah, pretty sure he would, to be honest. I don't think he's really stoppable. Without Jazzman on the track, I think that he's pretty much unbeatable. I know around certain tracks he can be challenged. I remember Kyle Army, he wasn't the quickest by miles. I'm trying to think of other tracks where maybe it was a bit of a contest. I mean, on a Sunday, there were some really quick guys in Tier 1 for the GT3 Championship on a Sunday. Obviously, the GT3 Sprint League, a little bit more of a casual event, but there are some absolutely rapid guys in there who are able to keep Tynus sort of within about 10 or 15 seconds over the course of an hour-long race. Robe, I think, puts a lot more effort into the Sunday GT3 Championship as well, because obviously this one he often just rocks up last minute. I know that he puts in a lot of practice for the Sundays, and generally is able to give Tynus a bit of a run for his money in that one as well. In the meantime, we've got G-Sanks down the inside of Fierce Mars into turn 1. Oh, he's gone deep. He goes wide there, and he gets onto the gravel, and that's going to give Fierce Mars back the position. And Robe there going through as well. Fierce Mars there was a bit of a mistake. And in the meantime, Capriglia and Kangi on the back of these guys as well. They're running in what I think is now going to be 8th and 9th with Fierce Mars is ahead of them, so they're not behind him. So yeah, still ahead of them at this point. They are behind him, should I say? But in the meantime, I'm noticing here that PS Vids has gone ahead of Max Power. So I don't know where he's been able to do that, but Max Power clearly has made some kind of mistake. He was running in second place, but now Guido Christ is occupying that runners-up spot temporarily, and PS Vids here is now going to watch out because Max Power is going to be trying to regain that position which he's lost. Looks like he's got a slight little dent on the front of the car as well, which could be affecting his performance ever so slightly. It's not going to be making a huge difference, I wouldn't imagine, but you know, it could be doing something here to his level of performance that he's got underneath him. But currently Shark Zulu is leading a train of cars here, battling over 5th place. There are currently 6 of them here in the line, all the way from 5th down to 10th place. You've got Shark Zulu, Fierce Mars, Robe, G-Sanks, Capriglia and Kangi all line astern here as they're coming into the final corner. But Shark Zulu here doing a good job here of essentially extending the gap a little bit over them. Actually, looks like he's now got over a second. Oh, is Robe there wide coming out of the final corner with his damage? He's really struggling, and Fierce Mars moves through, and so does G-Sanks as well. So Robe there losing 2 places. You can see Capriglia and Kangi waiting in the wings here as they come into turn 1, but currently he's still got that one held onto at this stage. But yeah, we got Raki there saying, "Good to hear you. Sounds full of energy." And yeah, I do feel a little bit better now. I've managed to get I've got about 9 or 10 hours sleep on Monday. No, I can't remember. Was it Monday night? Might be Monday night. Yeah, I managed to get about 5 or 6 hours last night. But I think I'm just getting used to this permanently altered state of being constantly tired. And it seems like now, I mean, one thing that actually Tony Zero, funnily enough, mentioned to me this the other day, and it kind of resonates, is that when you sleep, you kind of replenish your mental energy. Although you still feel tired, your mental energy kind of replenishes. It just sort of automatically resets. So I found that it might be actually something to that. I don't know, but yeah, weird. I mean, Tony Zero, I think he's quite young, to be fair. It's quite funny how sort of. But he did mention it to me actually in a DM. I kind of thought to myself, you know what, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, well, that was actually after the GT3 stream on Sunday at Monza, where I was struggling really to even sort of speak. And yeah, anyway, let's not go into that because it's boring. But currently, Sharkazuli's got 2 seconds over this pack now of cars. Fierce Mars is having to defend here down the start finish straight because G-Sanks is getting closer and closer to the back of him here as they're coming down towards turn 1. Looking to the inside here, and G-Sanks goes down the inside, and Fierce Mars there sees him coming, can't get the cut back because he's got Robe up his inside as well. Robe now gets the move done on Fierce Mars, and Fierce Mars is in 2 places there coming through turns 1 and 2 as Caprigia and Kangi still on the back of these guys right now. But the big thing there is G-Sanks there up into 6th place. Can he now try and chase down Sharkazulu, who has cleared off well ahead of these guys in P5 and is actually now closing on this battle for 3rd place. Oh, and Max Power's gone off. Max Power there cutting over the grass there as he was trying to get out of PS Vids, and Sharkazulu there sneaks around the outside there up into 4th place, and Max Power there down to P5 in this race. That is a massive shame there for him. So Max Power there now pretty much out of the battle for the podium places, you think, at this point, with probably about 5 laps left in this race, as we go back to the battle here between G-Sanks, Robe and Fierce Mars, with Caprigia on the back of them as well, as Caprigia was almost hitting the back of Fierce Mars there. In fact, Caprigia's made the move here on Fierce Mars, down the inside into the next left-hander, so Caprigia there moving himself through, up into 8th place, brilliantly done there from him, as now Kangi's going to be trying to try his luck, I would imagine, here on Fierce Mars as well, in his fight for 9th place, but Caprigia there up into 8th, beautiful move there from him, seized on this opportunity, did not need a second invitation. But we look on Robe, who's a bit wide there coming through that section. He's still on the back of G-Sanks at this point. You can see the battle for 2nd place still raging on, but PS Vids looking a little bit more comfortable there in that P2. Seems to be extending his gap over Guido Christ a little bit. Guido Christ going a bit wide there out of the final corner. Has now got Sharkazulu getting closer and closer to the back of him here. Coming down towards turn 1. Here goes Sharkazulu. Is he going to go around the outside of turn 1? That'll be a brave move from there. Guido Christ covers his inside line off, goes a little bit deep, and he goes wide there coming out of turn 2. And Sharkazulu moves up the inside. 2nd place in the back for Sharkazulu. Sorry, 3rd even. Sorry. Do apologise. 3rd place in the bag there for Sharkazulu onto the podium, but he goes deep there, very deep, coming through the bank left-hander, and Guido Christ back down the inside. Sharkazulu trying to hang it around the outside. Great racing from these guys. Sharkazulu manages to squeeze back through ahead of Guido Christ. So these two really dicing it out at the moment, and while they're battling, it's allowing Max Power and G-Sanks to catch up to them, as well as Robe as well. So who knows, this could even be a 5-way battle for the final podium place in the closing laps of this race. Caprigia seems to have dropped off of them a little bit. He's got Kangi and Fierce Mars on the back of him at this stage, but there's drama aplenty. There's so much going on right now. Really is great racing tonight here at Zandvoort. Aside from the race leader Tynus, and no offence to him, it's quite boring really, the fact that he's just miles ahead. But I mean, aside from the fact that Tynus has absolutely dominated the race, it's been quite good, it's been quite exciting. But he's absolutely on head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, it is ridiculous. He's literally lapping about 2 seconds a lap quicker than everybody else. It is absolutely insane. I don't know how he's this quick, but he's doing an absolutely superb job, and fair play to him. You know, you can't knock him. He's been absolutely brilliant. But yeah, here we come anyway, out of the final corner. Guido Christ has got Max Power getting closer and closer to the back of him here as Max Power now looking to the outside. Guido Christ defends the inside line. Down towards turn 1 we go. Can Max Power get it all the way around the long way? Guido Christ, a little bit later on the brakes, but Max Power's got a nose in front, and he should have the inside for the next section if he can keep himself there. Max Power is going to complete the move there. Beautiful move around the outside of turns 1 and 2 and gets himself into 4th place as Guido Christ goes a little bit wide onto the grass there. That could allow G-Sanks to sneak around the outside, but he can't do it because he's got Robe looking up his inside, and he's going to have to worry about what's behind him before he worries about what's in front of him, as Robe can't get the move done and has to tuck in behind G-Sanks. But Guido Christ losing out to Max Power there. Max Power back up into 4th place. He's had a bit of a yo-yo race so far in this one. Tony Zero saying Tynus is on a hot stint time trial, beating his personal best in 30 minutes. Everyone else is fighting for positions. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. No, you've got a point. He's been in clean air for the entire race. I reckon his pace isn't as dominant as it maybe is made to look, obviously by his gap. I think he's got about a second a lap, maybe a little bit more than a second a lap over his closest challengers, but I think that maybe, like you say, it has been accentuated a little bit by the fact that everybody else has been battling. PS Vids running in 2nd place has got a couple of seconds back to Sharkazulu. Iraqi's saying in the comments, shout out, because it's been a really good, really strong drive here from Sharkazulu in his first race tonight. Let's not forget, jumps in as a late standing as well, so you know, he stepped up to the plate and he's done a really fantastic job here getting himself onto the podium. I said earlier on, I think he didn't get a chance to get too much practice in because he seems to have gained in confidence over the course of tonight. So yeah, Massive shout out, I agree, Raki, there. But yeah, guys, if you are currently enjoying the stream here tonight, please do smash the like button and show your appreciation for the drivers out on track, because they're putting on a great show as Guido Christo into the inside of G-Sanks into turn 1, but a little bit too far back at the moment. In the meantime, Kangi is trying to look to the outside of Capriglia into turn 1, but Capriglia holds on to it, goes a little bit wide there coming out of turn 2 though, but Capriglia is still running in 8th place at the moment. Guido Christo still can't get ahead of G-Sanks as these two fight it out over 5th and 6th places. Guido Christo, as these two have been swapping places, he's been on the back of G-Sanks now for a lap or two. Obviously it was the other way around before that, but they seem quite evenly matched for pace overall at this point. But it'd be interesting to see what happens obviously in the second race. Also, I think maybe Tynus might, I don't know how close he is to, I know it sounds ridiculous me saying this now, obviously we got you know, so long left in the season. I don't think he's got a chance of wrapping the championship up, and the reason why is because there's only 2 points between each position, so it really is quite tight between each position. I don't think we're going to be seeing the championship wrapped up until probably the final week of the season, because you get 60 points for a win, you get 58 for second, all the way down to 2 for 30th place. So really there's not really much points differential for the positions that are actually on offer, because obviously typically we get sort of between about 15 and 20 drivers for the GT3 Sprint League. I mean, last couple of weeks have been a bit lower than that. We've had pretty much an unlucky couple of weeks in terms of turnouts. I mean, there were 4 regular drivers that couldn't make it tonight. Luckily we had a couple of reserves jumping in, but yeah, essentially you can generally count on there being between about 15 and 20 drivers each week. So ultimately the lowest scoring driver is probably going to score around 30 points. You know, when you factor that in, there's not really much of a gulf in terms of point scoring. So Tynus in the house, obviously with 60 points available for a win, he's gapping the championship, because I have actually done the championship standings now. That's the big news there. I did actually get the championship standings done for the GT3 championship on Sunday. I've also now got the standings for the Sprint League up, and I'm going to read them out here. So Tynus in the house leads on 528 points. He is currently 44 points ahead of G-Sanks, who sits in second on 484 points. He's a further 4 points clear of Kangi, who sits in third on 480. They've got a big gap back to Kevson, who's fourth on 440. But yeah, essentially Tynus isn't close to wrapping up the championship yet because of how little points there are between each position. But the dominance that he's shown tonight shows that it's unlikely that he's going to get pipped to this championship this season, that's for sure. Been an absolutely superb season so far from this man in the number 13 BMW, as G-Sanks on the back of Max Power still as they're coming around towards the final sort of lap of this race. Oh, as G-Sanks there wide onto the gravel, loses a bit of time there to Max Power as they come out to the start finish straight once again. Roby there a little bit wide coming out of the final corner as Guido Christo gets it horribly wrong there onto the grass. In the background, Capriglia having to defend from Kangi here coming down towards turn 1. Kangi's trying to get it around the outside of Capriglia. Capriglia's going to cover that line off for the time being. Kangi goes late on the brakes, goes a bit deep there through turn 1 onto the marbles there on the outside. Capriglia there holds on for 8th place. For the time being, keeping himself in there. Max Power still just ahead of G-Sanks. Robe's now joining this party here in this fight for what's currently 4th place here in this race. But where's Tynus? Because Tynus is coming through the final part of the lap. He's almost about to finish the race here. Such is his gap to everybody else. But Tynus in the house here has taken 8 race wins from 10 races so far in this GT3 Sprint League. He's about to make it 9 from 11 here as he comes through the final corner here at Zandvoort. The first race of the night is going to go the way of Tynus in the house, quite emphatically as well, as he comes up towards the line, takes the checkered flag, a flash of lights there from Tynus, and he has absolutely blown them away here in this first race of the night. A superb performance from our championship leader. PS Vids is coming through into the final couple of corners, and he's going to take 2nd place, best of the rest for PS Vids. And to be fair, his pace near the end was not that far off at Tynus either, so showed his credentials here for sure. But nobody was able to match Tynus over the course of the race distance. Consistency, he was absolutely on another level. PS Vids over the line to take 2nd place ahead of Sharkazulu, who brings it home in third, with Max Power just holding off G-Sanks and Robe as those guys come over in 4th, 5th and 6th places. Guido Christova in 7th, ahead of Capriga, who's just going to hold on ahead of Kangi there for 8th, as Kangi wipes him out there over the line. I believe those two are mates. I don't think that's any beef. I think they're just having a bit of a giggle. Not what we want to be seeing there, boys. I must say, I'm not particularly impressed with that. Yellow Army up towards the line is going to take 11th place here in his first race of the night. With Kevsim coming into the final sector, and he's going to be finishing this one in 12th place, we reckon, by the looks of it. Tynus is out of the house, says Racky. Give this man a PC and he beats Jardier. Or is this Jardier secretly? Maybe. Oh, if it is Tynus, if you are Jardier, then please feel free to stream your races and promote the leagues, because we, as you can see, we need more drivers. But Jexy, mate, coming over the line here, 13th place for him. That's a 13-man grid tonight. Guys, if you are watching for the first time, if you're on the PlayStation 5 and you have an SA rating of 60 or above, because you do need an SA rating of 60 or above to join our servers, then feel free to go to www.motiveracing.com. As I said before, we're PS5 only, we're exclusive to console, but if you are interested in joining our GT3 Sprint League here on a Wednesday, or our main GT3 Championship on a Sunday, then feel free to come along and jump in and become a part of the leagues, because as you can see, we do have some spaces. There is plenty of space here at Motive. So that is that nonetheless, guys, for tonight's first race. Tynus there taking the victory by over 30 seconds out of PS5, with Sharkazulu in 3rd place. I'm going to get the championship standings done after that first race of the night, and then I'll be reading them out at the end of the practice session, which will be coming up before the second race. We'll be about 10 minutes, guys, until we come back on. We're going to take a quick break. You'll be able to watch the guys in the pits, but ultimately I'm going to be sort of radio silence for the next 10 minutes. But we will be around and we will be back very, very soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have got some breaking news here from Zandvoort tonight. For this second qualifying session, it would appear Tinus in the house has either abandoned his attempt or decided not to set a lap time. So our dominant race 1 winner here for tonight is not going to be doing a lap, which means he will be starting from the back of the grid, depending on how many drivers put laps in, managed to get their laps in this one-shot qualifying session. We could be seeing some very, very big turn up for the books here. Obviously, depends how many drivers get valid lap times in as to how far down Tinus ends up. But G-Sank's coming over the line. I assume he's going to post the pole time. No! Did he lead the pits on time? I think that might be, yes, I think he was the last driver actually to start a flying lap. I was thinking he was the first driver to finish a flying lap, but actually I think he was just starting one, so I think it's alright, panic over. But who's going to be the first driver on? Just looking at the mini-map to see. Would appear Shaka Zulu's going to be the first driver to complete a lap time here. He is just ahead of the number 12 of Kangi, so they still be the first to finish their lap times. PS5 will be next over the line after them with Kevsim. Leximate not too far behind them on the track. Max Power is also coming round into the final sector now, but here comes Shaksu. Did he invalidate his lap time there? He went a bit wide coming out of the final corner. He didn't. He managed to get a valid one in, but he gets topped by Kangi there, so Kangi goes top of the leaderboard. What about PS5? PS5 goes top of the leaderboard there by a tenth of a second. What about Kevsim? Kevsim coming over the line. Can Kevsim improve? No, he can't. Leximate comes over. P5 for him. What about Max Power? Max Power goes top of the leaderboard there on a 36.6. Great up there from Max Power. Here comes Robe. What can Robe put on the board? He goes second. And Guido Chris goes into 6th. So it's a tight leaderboard here. Who else is coming around? We've got Fierce Mars coming up towards the line. Fierce Mars goes into 5th. Last driver over the line, though, will be G-Sanks, and we know that G-Sanks is going to be saving his best till last here in this second qualifying session. He's the man who's taken the fight to Tinus a couple of times this season. He's got 2 wins to his name. Obviously, he's the only driver to have denied Tinus. He comes over the line, and it's a 36.3 from G-Sanks, 3/10 quicker than Max Power. A convincing pole position there for our 2-time race winner in the Sprint League here this season. And I'll tell you what, Tinus is really going to have to make hay while the sun shines here, starting in P11, because we know that G-Sanks, if he gets a chance to run off at the start of this second race, he will definitely make the most of it and he will see this one out. So G-Sanks here, pole position for this second race with Max Power second and Robe in 3rd place with PS Fitz 4th fastest there in the second qualifying session. Got Day in the comments saying very close racing apart from Tinus, who is in his own time zone. I think he is, but saying that, down in P11, obviously this could be a great opportunity here for G-Sanks to take his 3rd win of this season. He's had a couple of poles as well, obviously, with Tinus not being around, not being setting lap times, should I say, in those particular qualifying sessions. So yeah, we know that Tinus is beatable. He's certainly not invincible, but you know he does make mistakes. We've seen a couple of times, but it's not very often. He's very, very consistent. He's obviously got scorching pace as well, and yeah, it's going to take something special here for G-Sanks to win this, even from pole with Tinus down in 11th place. It's still going to take some doing here. That is for sure. But we are now getting ready to go racing here for round 6 of the season here for the Sprint League here at Motive. Obviously this one round 6, but race 12 of the season with 2 races per round. This is the second race of tonight, and looking forward to seeing this battle here at the front between G-Sanks and Max Power. We've seen Max Power come close to taking a win a couple of times this season. We saw most namely in the first race of the season at Kyalami, actually, where he led most of the race and got pipped by Tinus on the final lap due to a collision between them, which in hindsight probably looked a bit suspect from Tinus, I've got to say. In the end, the decision of the stewards was to take no further action, as the footage that we reviewed was quite was not inconsequential. It was what's the word? Inconclusive, that's the word. So yeah, no further action was the eventual decision, but it did look a little bit like Tynus did punt him around. But ultimately, that was the start of Tynus's run, which he's currently on. He's won 9 races from 11 so far this season. Caprigia has failed to ready up, so Caprigia's going to have to start this one from the back of the pack, which is going to be very, very difficult for him. He's got a lot of work to do from there. Luckily for him though, it's a short pit lane here at Zandvoort, so he hasn't got too far to go until he can get out onto the track. His pit box is just over halfway, I reckon, down the pit lane, so it could be a lot worse, I guess. But yeah, that's the situation right there with Tynus in the house. But yeah, they all are coming round on the formation lap here for the second race of the night, and it should be an exciting one here. I'm going to read through the championship standings after the first race of the night. So Tynus in the house now leads the championship. Obviously he was already leading before for quite some way. He's on 588 points. He is 52 points clear of G-Sanks, who sits in second on 536. He's now 10 points clear of Kangi, the battle for second in the championship, probably the hottest one here between those two. Max Power moves up ahead of Kevsim into 4th place in the standings, onto 490 points ahead of Kevsim, who's now on 480 in 5th. And then you've got Caprigia, who now sits 6th in the standings on 424 points. Actually moves ahead of Snoopy, so does Leximate as well. So Leximate moves into 7th on 412. Snoopy down 2 places into 8th. Obviously not here tonight. He's now on 398 points. Fierce Mars sits 9th on 390 ahead of Shark Zulu, who is 10th on 364. Then you've got Robe in 11th on 318 points. He hasn't made every race as Robe for this sprint league, unfortunately. Can't make every round. He's not a permanent driver. Lowell 3000 completing the top 12. Has actually dropped a couple of places here tonight. Obviously he's not here tonight, so he's now down to 12th on 316 points. I'd love to read the rest of the standings, but we are coming around towards the end of the formation lap here. I need to be ready for the actual start of the race, as we are now coming through in towards the final corner here at Zandvoort. We're about to get underway for the second race of the night. What can Tynus in the house do? A runaway race winner from the first race. He's starting in P11 here for this second race. He's got a long way to go, but if any man can win from 11th place on the grid, you've got to say it would be Tynus in the house. So it's going to be very exciting to see where he can get to in this one. Can he take the W, or is G-Sanks going to run off here at the start and get himself a nice little gap? Here we go. We're green as we're now heading down towards turn 1. Shark Zulu that seems to have made an absolute flyer in the background and is already making a move here on Kangi, but we're watching the battle for the lead here as Max Power's trying to go around the outside of G-Sanks, and I think he might have this done here, Max Power. He's going to have the inside here for turn 3, and here we go. G-Sanks has lost out there to Max Power. Back out, somebody's into the wall there. I'm not sure who it was, but somebody's gone absolutely steaming into the barriers there. G-Sanks and Max Power still bumper to bumper here ahead of Robe. PS Fids there still running in 4th place at the moment, and then you've got Kangi, who seems to have dropped off of them a little bit. Obviously I think he might have been caught up with something behind them, but Guido Christ is ahead of Kangi, and who was the driver who we lost into the wall there? I think it might have been Kangi actually, so yeah, Kangi's lost. No, it wasn't, sorry. It was either Fierce Mars, Shark Zulu or Leximate. It was probably, I think it was Shark Zulu. Yeah, Shark Zulu. He's parked up in the barriers. He's not moving. Oh, it's G-Sanks and Max Power battling it out there. And Max Power has lost out to G-Sanks. G-Sanks has got himself back up into the lead as Max Power, look at the inside of it once again. Roby there goes very wide as he tries to pick off both of them. But Max Power gets the run here on G-Sanks, and these two are still fighting out down towards the final sector of this lap. Here goes G-Sanks looking to the inside into the stadium section, but Max Power turns in nonetheless and holds on to that one. But G-Sanks here lost out briefly, and then Max Power's got back ahead of him once again. These two having a great little scrap here on the first lap. PS Fids there running in 3rd. It's now got ahead of Robe up into that position. Guido Chris ahead of Tynus, who's already into 6th place. What a start from Tynus. He's up 5 places on this opening lap with Kangi on the back of him. Yellow Army's a long way back. He must have got caught up in whatever went on there going through the first sector. Kessim's got a bit of damage there on the front. You can see that for your own eyes. Caprigia running in P10. Leximate obviously involved in that incident. Shark Zulu has not moved. And Fierce Mars, I think, was the one who went steaming into the barriers. We saw that happen. right there and then. Into the pits here comes Fierce Mars at the end of the first lap. But it is Max Power currently leading the race ahead of G-Sanks as they're coming around here on lap 2 of the race. But these two quite evenly matched as we've seen so far in this one. Tynus is up into 5th place now ahead of Guido Chris, so that's massive news there for Tynus in the house, who's started in 11th place, so he's already up 6 places from where he started. We're only a lap and a half into this second race of the night. This is absolutely insane stuff here from Tynus in the house, but currently Max Power still holding on to the lead at this point. G-Sank's keeping him under pressure though in the early stages of this one. And what a start that was there, but currently Max Power doing what he has to do. Obviously managed to get a good start, got the jump on G-Sanks. G-Sanks then got back ahead of him, and then Max Power returned the favour near the end of the first lap. Those two were having a great little dice. Robe's now trying to attack on the back of PS Fids, but he's got Tynus, Tynus pretty close to the back of him as well, so this is just goes to show how quickly Tynus is picking his way through the pack. He's on the lead pack at the moment. He's only about 2 seconds at the race lead, not even 2 seconds off of the race lead at the moment. It's just unbelievable how seamless this progress has been through the pack. But Max Power and G-Sanks here coming through the final corner, and they're about to complete lap 2 of the race. You can see there G-Sanks trying to get a good run here, coming out onto the start-finish straight. He's going to get a closing speed here, coming down towards turn 1. Max Power defends. He's now going to weave to the outside there. G-Sanks looking to the inside, but nothing doing at the moment into turn 1. In the background, you can see Robe defending here from Tynus into turn 1. Tynus going a bit wide and losing out there. I didn't have the grip on the outside so much, and Robe there holding on to that position. Guido Chris there still just ahead of Kangi in this battle for 6th and 7th places right now. But the top 7 currently separated by about 3 seconds at the moment. We're still headed by Max Power as we're coming through here on lap 3 of the race. G-Sanks though is keeping him on his toes at the moment, and these two trying to break away from PS Fids, but PS Fids is currently keeping them very much within his sight at this stage. PS Fids, obviously, as we said before, driving as a late standing reserve tonight, is a former champion of the GT3 Championship on a Sunday, our main staple event here on ACC. Obviously, that was when we have one tier, but he had an absolute cracker of a season. It was season 2 for the PlayStation 5 GT3 Championship. It was a season when I think everything kind of fell into place for PS Fids. It was one of those seasons where I think the stars really did align for him, and that's taking nothing away from him. He drove an absolutely fantastic season. It was just one of those seasons, I think he drove brilliantly. Everything kind of fell into place apart from the race at Misano, which he started from the pit lane. And actually, you know what? To be fair, and you know, I'm not even criticising him at all. But like, what I'm trying to say is like, his season was like a Leicester City winning the Premier League. No offence to PS Fids, but like, he's always up there or thereabouts. But it was like the most unbelievable season. But I remember the Misano race. He started from the pit lane and he finished in 2nd place in that race. It was, yeah, just insane stuff. Robe here looking to the inside, trying to defend from Tynus as well at this point. But still, as you are between these three at the moment, PS Fids, Robe and Tynus, Max Power still just ahead of G-Sanks as these guys coming through the middle part of the lap right now. Guido Chris is now dropping off at the back of the top 5 ever so slightly. He's still got Kangi in hot pursuit at this point. Tynus triple DRS needs to be nerfed, says Dave. I think you're right, mate. I think you are spot on there. Tynus a bit deep there going into the chicane. Still keeping the pressure on the back of Robe at this point. You can see Guido Christian Kangi just waiting in the wings at this point. Max Power and G-Sanks here coming to the final corner. They've gapped PS Fids now by just over a second. So the top 2 starting to ramp up the pace a little bit here. As they're coming over the line here to complete lap 4, you can see that G-Sanks has got the slipstream here, getting closer and closer to the back of the BMW. The Lexus has got the straight line speed, but still nothing doing at this point. As Guido there down the inside of Kangi, holding on to P6 just about, but Kangi continuing to put that pressure on here in that little battle between those two. Guido was a little bit wide there, almost left something on the table there for Kangi, but no dice for now. Kangi's still having little looks everywhere on Guido Christ at the moment, but can't seem to find an opening at this stage. Here come Max Power and G-Sanks coming into the final sort of sector of the lap once again. Max Power there just riding over the curve a little bit aggressively as well. G-Sanks still can't find a way through as they're coming through into the final two corners. There's PS Fids to the head of Robo Batinus, Guido Christ and Kangi as well. Back out onto the start finish straight we go once again here to complete lap 5. G-Sanks getting closer to the back of Max Power here, looking to the inside now. He's just getting closer and closer every lap, but still not quite close enough at this point. Kangi's still looking on the back of Guido Christ, but has to wait for his opportunity at least one more lap by the looks of it. Unless Guido Christ were to make a rather unorthodox mistake going through the twisty sections of this Zandvoort circuit, which I don't think is likely. Got 9 of you currently watching on the stream. Guys, show your appreciation to the drivers. Smash that like button if you are currently enjoying what you're seeing right now. Max Power and G-Sanks having a great battle out the front. PS Fids and Robe kind of playing the thorn in the side here for Tinus in the house, who isn't currently able to make this move on them. It's a very difficult circuit to overtake here at Zandvoort. Even if you're about a second a lap quicker than the car in front, it's still really challenging to make a move. And currently Robe playing an absolute corker here for Tinus, and for Max Power and G-Sanks is allowing them to pull away a little bit, but they are battling and they are kind of concerning each other, so you know, it's definitely not off the cards for these two to trip over each other and invite guys like PS Vids, Robe and Tinus in as well. And I said before, Tinus absolutely dominated the first race earlier on, so that just goes to show how well Robe is doing. As Kangi's lost it in the background there, and he's dropped off at the back of Guido Christ a little bit, so Guido Christ now well clear of Kangi. Kangi dropping it there, coming out of the stadium section, and is now well behind Guido Christ there. Max Power and G-Sanks coming down towards turn 1. G-Sanks good to the inside there, but just a little bit too far away. PS Fids, Robe and Tinus there going into turn 1 still. Line of stern, always PS Fids there. That's gone a little bit deep, and that's going to allow Robe to have a look here coming through this section, and Robe swoops through up into 3rd place there. Thank you very much, says Robe. And yeah, moves himself through up into 3rd place, and so all that pressure he was getting from behind from Tinus, now he's managed to actually gain a position here and can now try and pull away here. Now PS Vids is going to play the thorn in the side here for our championship leader and surely champion-elect, but a bit too early to be talking about that yet. We have still got, including this race, we've got 5 races left in this season. Or is it? Yeah, 5 races, obviously 4 after this. 16 race season altogether. This race 12 of the entire season. Max Power in the meantime still just ahead of G-Sanks. There's Robe running in 3rd place with PS Vids and Tinus still in hot pursuit at this stage. There's Guido Christ ahead of Kangi at the moment. Oh, PS Vids there, hugging the curve on the inside a little bit. Here goes Tinus looking around the outside of the final corner. Can he get a bit of a run here? PS Vids just managing to squeeze ahead there, getting a better run out to the start finish straight. In the meantime, G-Sanks looking to the inside of Max Power again into turn 1, still a little bit too far back. But here goes Tinus in the house, now down the inside of PS Vids. PS Vids holding it around the outside of turn 1. Can he keep himself there for turn 2? Tinus, I think, is going to have it done. PS Vids still sticking with it though. Into turn 3 they go. Tinus is going to have that one done surely now. He does indeed, cuts him off a little bit, and Tinus there into 4th place finally makes that manoeuvre there on PS Vids. They've lost a couple of seconds now to Robe, and they're about 5 seconds behind the race leader Max Power at this stage. So Tynus has lost a bit of time here to obviously the leader Max Power and G-Sanks, and is now a little way adrift of Robe, who's trying to actually chase down the top two here. So Robe showing he's got the pace to definitely keep with and potentially close in on these two Max Power and G-Sanks at this stage. Not even halfway through this second race of the night, obviously the final race as well, with only 2 races for the Sprint League here on a Wednesday. As PS Fitz there a little bit wide, would have lost him a bit of time here on the back of Tynus. Guido Chris has got Kangi now closing up onto the back of him again. Kangi made that mistake a few laps ago through the stadium section, but he's shown that he's got some pace over Guido Chris because he's pulled up onto him like he's nothing here. Ryan says, what's happened to the grid? Start of the season was busy. Yeah, we've got 12 currently left. We had 13 jump in tonight. Yeah, ideally, I'd like to sort of be getting 20 plus. I mean, I suppose it's getting towards the, you know, the sort of the business end of the season, I guess. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame, to be fair. But yeah, well, I need to try and share the league a little bit on TikTok and Instagram, and try and get into more servers as well, and invite some new people. Obviously, when we put up the sign-up forms for the new season, that will generate some interest. Oh, G-Sanks there, wide onto the grass, and he's going to lose out to Robe, so Robe's going to swoop around the outside, or is he? Has he got the grip to do so? G-Sanks there, squeezing him out actually, and keeping on to P2 by the skin of his teeth there. So G-Sanks holding on despite that little mistake, but Tynus there running in 4th place, closing in on these guys. PS Fitz dropping off at them at this point. Guido Christian Kangi there in 6th and 7th places. Max Power, they race leader. The 24 is filling up a bit now, up to 33 total teams. Excellent. Yeah, let me know when it's on, and I'll definitely tune in and check that out. Because I know obviously Ryan is racing in a 24-hour race pretty soon. Hopefully you don't end up doing the whole thing by yourself this time, mate, because I know you did that 12-hour race by yourself. That was quite some feat, I've got to say. Quite unbelievable. Yeah, hopefully your teammates decide to turn up this time, because that was, you know, fair play to you. That was unbelievable. But Max Power, G-Sanks, Robe, Tynus still the top 4 at this point. There's PS Fitz on the back, well, dropping off the back of them a little bit at this point. There in P5. But G-Sanks here getting closer and closer to the back of Max Power, coming down towards turn 1. He's going to look to the inside. No, he's not. Max Power's just got that covered off at the moment. 27th, 28th it is on. He's got 2 others, but might end up doing 12 because one of them is killing me. Is he just not good enough? Is he not quick enough, or just dedication wise? Because I know sometimes people haven't got pace, but usually it's just down to the fact that you question whether they're even going to be up for it, or are they going to be able to stay the distance. You know, there's a lot of factors involved, and this is why doing a project cast 24 hours is a bit more simple, because at least you know where you stand then. You know, you're on your own completely, and you've got to put the AI in the car when you're not there, basically. Tynus now has moved through ahead of Robe up into 3rd, because Robe was just running over the grass there. So Tynus now into P3, can now try and chase down the top 2. So Max Power and G-Sanks are going to have that little bit of added pressure here, because they've now got the race 1 winner, the man who started this second race from 11th on the grid, and he's made light work of getting himself up the order here. He's been absolutely superb here tonight, here at Zandvoort, and looking to try and make it another double. So far this season, Tynus in the house has taken, trying to work it out, he's taken out of the 5 rounds so far, he's taken the double at 3 of them. And in the other 2 that he didn't take the double at, he took at least 1 win out of the 2 races. And G-Sanks there has let Tynus past. Wow. Okay. So G-Sanks there, waving him by, saying after you, sir. And Tynus in the house is now going to have a free crack at Max Power. So this is going to be a bit of deja vu here from Kyle Army earlier this season. Obviously the first race of the season, we saw Max Power getting the jump off the line, getting ahead of Tynus. Tynus is a very cautious driver, doesn't really take too many risks when in wheel-to-wheel battles. There's one thing, there's probably one weakness that Tynus has got, I would say, is attacking. He's good at defending. From Jazzman, we've seen many times. We've seen he's got incredible pace. If there was one little weakness, chink in the armour that I'll give Tynus, it's probably his attacking driving. But then again, you know, I mean, I say that, and you know, I feel really silly for saying it, because when you look at this season, you see some of his grid positions where he's come from, you know, 11th, 13th, 18th on the grid, and he's come and he's finished second, or he's finished on the podium, or he's won a couple of them. And you think, yeah, what's that all about? And where do you get that from? But the thing is, when you look at his pace in comparison, sometimes his attacking driving you can sometimes call into question, because Max Power, for example, in the Kyle Army race, I think there's no doubt that Tynus did have the pace over him, but it was just a case of he couldn't find a way through. He was very cautious on the back of him. You know, when I say his attacking driving isn't the best, and it's still bloody good, let's make no bones about it, but ultimately I think when you compare his pace to his ability to carve through the pack, I don't know, it just doesn't add up completely to me. But then again, I mean, he's a hell of a driver. Look at him, he's gone from 11th to 2nd in this race, and who am I to talk about a driver being able to attack or being able to overtake? You know, ultimately I don't mean it as a criticism at all. It's not intended in that way. It's all it is an observation. And I've noticed before, Max Power's good at defending, and Tynus has struggled in the past to get ahead of Max Power, and we could be seeing a similar situation here in this race. But currently Max Power doing everything he needs to do, parking his car in all the right places, and let's just hope that these guys keep it clean, that we don't see any last lap shenanigans like we had in the first race of the season at Kyle Army. Tynus is looking everywhere, but Max Power's leaving him nothing on the table at this point, giving him absolutely nothing to go on at this stage, and Max Power driving an absolutely superb race here. Ryan says, me after 4 hours practice, I have 5 to 10 times. That's 270 times trying different things, which I don't understand why. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think he's just better off following your advice, to be honest. You've done this before, you've done endurance, you know what you're doing. Just tell him what to do, mate. You're the boss. Tell him what to do. Tell him what you need from him. Or tell him to go find a new team. But obviously just kidding, but you know. But nonetheless, we can see coming down the start-finish straight, G-Tanks here, weaving around, trying to break the toe on Robe, but it's still Max Power from Tynus. G-Tanks and Robe still right there. Four-way battle for the lead here at Zandvoort for the second race of the night. Obviously, Tynus has gone from 11th to 2nd place, but he's found a stumbling block in the shape of Max Power, who we said before, he's good at defending, and he's got some pace as well, as Tynus trying to get underneath him, but Max Power's just sticking to his lines. He's not being distracted, he's not being phased in any way, shape or form by his fellow Beamer, which is currently filling his mirrors up at the moment. Ryan says, I've done the livery, I've changed the name. All he's done was pay entry. Yeah, that's quite a crucial part. You can't really sack somebody when they're the reason why you're on the grid. I think you might have to put up with him. But PS Vid's within a second of Kangi at this point. But obviously Kangi's got ahead of PS Vid's actually, so I didn't see where he's done that, but he's obviously done it somewhere. And yeah, that's now Kangi into P5. Or was he? No, he was behind him before. So yeah, he has made that move and he's now starting to pull away from PS Vid's. But Max Power still leading the race ahead of Tynus, as the top four here come through the stadium section right now into the final part of the lap. So here we come over the start finish line to complete lap 13 of the race. Tynus getting close to the back of Max Power, but too far back into turn one just at the moment. Racky's got to head off. Alright mate, good to see you on the comments as always, and yeah, take it easy, we'll see you soon. But Tynus here, Still all over the back of Max Power. He's closer and closer to him, almost underneath him there. Look at them. They are pretty much hugging the bump. The two bumpers are hugging each other at this point. But Tynus can't seem to find a way through. Max Power seems to have to grip through the corners and then down the straights. Obviously, they're both in the same car, so Tynus is not really finding much of an advantage. You'd think in the slipstream he might have a chance, but I think Max Power's just got a lower downforce setup and is able to keep it planted in the corners. He's able to fight the understeer that he's probably getting, and I've been able to hold on to it quite well. Oh, Robe in the background goes wide. Did he get a tap from G Sanks, or did he lose that all by himself? Robe a couple of times in this race has had little moments like that, and he might fall back into the clutches here of Kangi, who's going to be coming up on the scene. Kangi there moving through up into 4th place. Robe there down to 5th, and that promotes G Sanks now onto the podium here. Back onto the podium after he was in that position at the start. Obviously G Sanks started on pole, let's not forget, but actually let Tynus through when Tynus appeared on the back of him. Max Power in no such mood to be waving by our championship leader. Defends the inside into turn 1, defending for everything he's got here is Max Power, and he's putting on an exemplary display of defensive driving. It's been absolutely superb here from Max Power and from Tynus as well, starting in 11th, let's not forget, in this second race, currently running in 2nd place, up 9 places from where he started. But can he make it a race win from 11th on the grid? Max Power is currently doing everything in his power at this point to hold on to this race lead, but for how much longer is he going to be able to weather this storm with the man who was taken 13 out of 15 races so far this season in all competitions here on ACC. He's won 9 out of 11, so 14 out of 16 in all competitions. Obviously in this particular league it's 9 from 11 and 5 out of 5 on a Sunday, so he's got a perfect record on a Sunday, but nearly perfect on a Wednesday. As we're coming into the final sector once again, Tynus here, closer and closer here to the back of Max Power. 7 of you still watching the stream, guys, if you are enjoying, please do smash the like button and show your appreciation for the drivers out on track. What a show they put on. As I've said before, they really have given us something to talk about here, given us something to get excited about, and we've still got a three-way battle here as we come into the closing stages of the final race here of the night. As they're coming through the final corner, it's still Max Power holding on to this lead just about ahead of Tynus and G Sanks as we're coming over the line here to start lap 16 of the race, as G Sanks now looking to the outside, but Tynus has got him covered there into turn 1, and no opportunities here for G Sanks to make the move. Kangi and Robe there still running in the background in 4th and 5th places. That's Kangi a little bit wide there out of turn 2. Robe looking to the outside, but can't do anything just at the moment, and it's still as you were between those guys. Ties it to the inside. Oh, as Max Power there turns into the corner, goes a little bit deep as well. As Tynus now got a bit of a run. Can Tynus finally punish one of Max Power's little blemishes here? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Max Power still holds on, still just clinging onto this by the skin of his teeth. In the background you can see that Kangi has now got Robe now putting back up onto him here. But this three-way battle for the lead between Max Power, Tynus and G Sanks still continuing to rage on. G Sanks the pole sitter. Max Power started in 2nd but got ahead of G Sanks quite early on. Tynus has gone from 11th to 2nd, but as I said before, once he arrived on the back of Max Power, he probably knew that he was going to be in for a bit of a difficult ride, because he's been in this situation before with Max Power. Max Power is a classy defensive driver, just knows exactly where to position his car, knows how to force his opponent's hand, and Tynus to the outside, into turn 1, still can't make the move, and Max Power's doing it, as I said before, he's just putting on an absolute show on how to defend a position. He's not put a foot wrong here in this second race. Tynus has got the pace over him. I don't think there can be much doubt about that whatsoever. Still 5 of them within 2 seconds of the race lead as we're on lap 17 of this second race of the night. Closing stages here at Zandvoort for round 6 of the Sprint League here for the GT3 class on a Wednesday night here for Season 4 Motive, as Max Power, Tynus there wide onto the gravel a little bit, pushing it a little bit too hard, maybe getting a bit frustrated now on the back of Max Power. His tyres maybe starting to go off a bit. He's been running most of this race in dirty air. Essentially those brakes starting to get a little bit hot. Maybe the tyres going off and possibly just struggling a little bit. The front of the car is going to be quite hot, and Tynus not used to driving behind other people for so long. But coming in towards the stadium section, and Tynus is going to go for it. He's looking to the inside, he tags him in the rear a little bit there, and Max Power holds it around the outside. Tynus went for a bit of a late lunge, thought why not just go for it, but Max Power just was able to turn into the corner and was able to hold on to the slide that Tynus induced him into. Somehow Max Power still leads the race as we're coming to the final corner here to complete lap 17 of the race, but that would have woken Max Power up a little bit now. He knows that Tynus is looking to try and send one here, trying to catch him off guard a little bit. Max Power for the time being survives on that one as Tynus looking to the inside into turn one, and he's going to commit one down the inside. He's looking, as he gets contact between the two of them. Oh, Max Power's sent around there. Tynus should be giving that place back. He should be giving that place back because he's gone and pushed him around there, and Max Power pushing Tynus wide onto the grass, but that has given G-Sanks the race lead as Max Power loses it. He's gone wide, he's gone deep, and where has Tynus ended up in all this? Tynus is at the back of that train, but Tynus in the house a bit aggressive there. Max Power has now lost the lead. He's going to be absolutely fuming with that. And G-Sanks now leads the race here as we've got a lap and a half left to go. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. Max Power down to third place. He's going to be shaking with rage after that one, because that was a little bit aggressive there from Tynus. But Max Power's going to feel like he's been robbed for the second time this season of a race win there. G-Sanks, it leads us as we're coming down towards the end of the penultimate lap of the race. Roby there now trying to pressure G-Sanks. Roby, for the first time in this second race, probably over the course of this one, now senses he might have a chance of a race win. I don't think he had any sort of hope of that before, but now he's going to be looking to try and capitalise on everything going on around him, and potentially going to be taking the race win here off of G-Sanks as we come through into the final part of this penultimate lap of the race. G-Sanks, Roby, Max Power, Kanyi there, completing the top four at this point, 2 seconds covering the top four. Tynus has dropped off at the back of these guys. He's got huge damage on the front of the car as well. He's going to be limping around. But G-Sanks here has got Roby all over him as they're coming down the start-finish straight. Roby now tucking back into the slipstream. G-Sanks defending to the inside there. All over the marbles there was G-Sanks. That will put him a little bit off coming into turn one. Does he go deep? Roby looking to try and go for a cutback, and he's got on the inside there. G-Sanks just gets a good enough exit out of turn two to hold on to that one. That was a close call there for G-Sanks. Roby is going to be keeping this pressure on for the duration of this final lap here. Day in the comments saying, oh dear, that was impatience taking over by Tynus. Come on, Roby, he says. Roby currently throwing the kitchen sink here at G-Sanks on this final lap, but is it going to be enough, or is G-Sanks going to be able to convert what was a pole position for this second race of the night? And obviously was running in third place. Looked like it was going to be a P3 for him, with Max Power and Tynus battling it out over the lead in front of him, but with those two coming together, it has gifted him what's currently the lead. But Roby's going to try and take it away from him on this final lap. As we can see, Roby is now getting a bit of a cutback here as G-Sanks holds the inside line, but Roby's going to go all around the outside here. Can he keep himself there? G-Sanks just squeezing to the edge of the track, says, don't even think about it, Roby. No way, you're not going to get it around me around the outside there. Not a chance in hell. Coming through into the final section here, we've just got the stadium section and then the final right hand, the double right hander to go, and it looks like G-Sanks has just done enough here to hold on for this race win, which has been gifted to him on a plate, as I said before, with Max Power and Tynus coming together. As we come through the stadium section for the final time, G-Sanks here is going to take quite a fortuitous second race win, as long as he can get it through this final double right hander. As here he comes, G-Sanks there, being a bit cautious there as he comes through the final part of the lap. Roby's going to push him all the way, but he's not going to get there in time. It is going to be G-Sanks to take his third win of this season for the GT3 Sprint League. Roby comes over to take second place. A flash of lights there from him. Max Power takes third out of Kanyi in fourth. But that decision from G-Sanks to wave Tynus by and let him past could have been the race winner tonight. That could, I mean, you know, when you think about it, it looked like quite a sort of a surrenderous kind of thing to do, but looking back in hindsight, that has just won him the race there. That move, letting Tynus through, has won him the race. PSV is fifth. Tynus takes P6 in the end after that collision late on there with Max Power. Guido Chris takes 7th place in this second race of the night, with Capriglia over in 8th place. Yellow Army's coming through the final couple of corners here. He's well clear of Lexi Mate, and Keston, I think, will actually be the next driver over the line here, because he's coming through the final corner. No, Yellow Army will be the next driver over the line, so Here comes the Yellow Army to finish the race. And Kevsim is about to finish a lap down in 11th. And it will be Lexi Mate who will be the last driver on the lead lap. He's a long way behind. He's just coming into the stadium section now. But G Sanks there taking the win in his second race of the night. A great battle there between himself and Roby. It was an exciting battle as well between Max Power and Tynus, and it's a shame that those two, for whatever reason, they can't seem to race together without taking each other out. Potentially it was a bit of a dodgy move there from Tynus. I have to call it as I see it, and in my opinion that was on Tynus, that one. But who knows, the onboards could tell a different story. But for me, I didn't like the look of it. But nonetheless, G Sanks there taking the win. Lexi made the last driver to finish the race there on the lead lap. And that is that then for tonight. So G Sanks, Robe and Max Power, your podium finishers. Congratulations to G Sanks and Tynus, your race winners here at Zandvoort for round 6 of the GT3 Sprint League. Mike doing a comment saying, what a fight, congrats to the winner. Dave says, come on Robe, G Sanks. Giving a little clap there to G Sanks. Obviously we're supporting Robe, but happy to see G Sanks take the win. But guys, that is that. Thanks ever so much for watching as always. And yeah, we'll see you. Join us tomorrow night. We're back on Project Cars 2. Mike Stokeman in the comments. We'll actually be racing tomorrow night in the Touring Car Championship. We'll be live from Silverstone National. I think we'll be on for the BTCCC tomorrow. The BTCC, sorry, not the BTCCC, sorry. I'm using too many words. The BTCC will be live at 8:30 PM UK time tomorrow night on Project Cars 2. And then Friday night we're back for the F1 at the same time as always, 6:40 PM UK time, where we will be at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. So looking forward to that. Then we'll be back on for Sunday night for the GT3 Championship, the main sort of staple event of the week on ACC. And we will be live at Donington Park for that one, so that's going to be an exciting one. I need to update the server as well, get that sorted. I'm going to do that now, right now as we speak, so that's all done. But guys, thanks ever so much once again. We'll see you very soon. Take it easy. Good night everybody. See you later.